Hey there, AfterBuzzers. You're watching the AfterBuzz TV After Show for Secrets and Lies. We're talking Season 2, Episode 8, The Racket. Stay tuned as we discuss this week's episode and give you our thoughts and predictions.
Destination and discussion, AfterBuzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Oh yeah,
Yes. Gotta love an oldie.
rocking out to this before we went live, you guys. Oh my gosh, it brings us back.
You wanna give it a go?
Yeah, I got a record deal waiting.
Loves it.
Little Lady Marmalade, because, you know, we've been dealing with some brothel whorehouse situations in our
Yes.
episodes lately. Am I allowed to say that? Yeah, I can say
you
that,
can
right?
say that.
Yeah. Anyway, guys, I am Lauren Salaun, your host for the evening, and you can find me everywhere online at Lauren Salaun, especially Instagram. And how you ladies doing?
Amazing.
Love this episode.
I know, right?
it was a good
so
one.
good.
So
where
happy to be
where can
here.
everybody find you guys online?
Yes, y'all can find me everywhere at April Whisenhant.
And I'm Whitney. You can find me on Twitter at WhitGetItWhit or Instagram at JustGetItWhit.
Oh my gosh, I want to just keep this song going. You guys,
we could talk
while
over
we're
it.
jamming out, make sure you are subscribed to us on YouTube, youtube.com/AfterBuzzTV. And if you guys are watching live, because a few of you are, chat with us in there. Hey, Misha, because we want to hear what's going on. You guys, we have just next week the 2-hour finale, so we're going to be throwing a lot of ideas and kind of predictions and all sorts of theories around tonight. There is a lot to work through. So talk to us if you're in the chat. And you guys, if you're not, leave comments on the video. Be sure to subscribe to us on iTunes as well. And when you're over in iTunes, leave us a review in there. All right, shall we dive on in? This was exciting.
This one was
It's my
great.
favorite episode of the season.
Ooh,
for
that's a
sure.
strong statement. It was a great one.
Well, we
That's
got a
great-
lot of info,
Yes.
so that's why.
Yes.
Okay.
Exactly. So we start things off with Cornell and crew kind of busting the brothel situation, and we don't really get a whole lot out of that in the beginning. I mean, they find footage. Well, they don't find footage. They find that there's been cameras recording all this surveillance type stuff. They don't find the footage, and then of course are like, well, somebody we know swipes footage all the time. So, you know, pulling us back to Melanie, of course.
Yeah.
And we do have, I like that we had a pretty quick resolution in a sense with Neil and Eric.
I do too.
In the
Me
beginning.
too.
You know, Neil finally came clean to Eric. We, you know, have that flashback with them, you know, and Neil at the party bringing Carly, and then Melanie seeing her there and getting really pissed about that. And that's when Neil found out that Melanie was involved.
Yes.
And is Carly's pimp.
It just seems like it's so funny to see him acting, meaning like as an actor now, and how he seems like, oh, I'm a good guy, like you're my best pal, and how he was so like broody and mysterious before. I mean, obviously he did a great job at it because we all were like, oh, he has potential to be the killer for sure. But now it's like, why didn't you just come clean with that at the beginning?
That's what I was wondering the whole time, because we were so sure in the very beginning of this season that he had something to do with this whole disappearance, or not the disappearance, the murder, and all of this crazy stuff with Carly. And then it's like he could have just come clean from the beginning. Like, I can see where he didn't want to implicate Melanie or get involved in the family affairs, but he had the missing piece to some of the puzzles. Like, if Eric would have known about Melanie from the beginning, like, who knows what would have happened in this season, you know?
I think that he didn't say anything because he thought, why would this ever have any connection to that? And so it's like, why bring himself down and, you know, make everyone be like, oh, you're a guy who buys prostitutes or you use this service, when you don't have to. When he should have told the truth is when Detective Danny is when Danny beat him up in the hall,
Was, like,
and
body
Eric
slamming him.
By hiding it at that moment, that's when it's like, okay, no, you need to, you know that this guy is looking into Eric, or they're like working together. That's when you have to say something.
Yeah.
But I get not wanting to do it, but it's just like, it would have saved so much heartache. But that's the crazy thing about these situations, is because I can completely see where he went into it thinking like, okay, I did this, but why would that ever have anything to do with Kate dying? It still might not. Technically, we don't know.
Yeah. And
So-
of course, you know, I think he wants to protect Patrick to a certain extent too, because he's known the family for so long. You know, Patrick is kind of like his little brother too.
Right.
And I mean, save his own butt too in the end, because he was using, am I wrong? He was using company money to supply hookers from what I
he
gathered.
wasn't.
No, that's what I gathered from the beginning. That's why.
Well, he went to strip clubs on company money, but I don't know that he paid for.
He did that with
The
like his
hooker.
petty cash kind of thing. But
yeah,
all
I thought
of
that that's what he did with the petty cash too. But maybe I'm wrong.
no, all of the like money laundering and fraud, he didn't do any of that. That was just Patrick.
Yeah. But I thought he used his petty cash also for the hookers in the strip
Oh,
clubs.
maybe.
But
Sure.
I don't know.
Strip clubs, hookers.
Yeah.
you
That's
know,
cash. There's no
blurry
record.
lines. It's fine. And so we end up, you know, this whole situation. Like, there's a lot dealing with Patrick here, and Patrick ultimately gets very hugely thrown under the bus by Eric. He gets fired. And then their lawyer comes, you know, the SEG lawyer comes into the picture and is pretty much like very like, he is very cut and dry, which, you know, in this kind of situation, I would think the lawyer would be, and is pretty much like, oh, you guys are all screwed. Like, I don't care who knew about it and who was actually responsible. You guys are all like, I'm sorry, you're the CEO, you're the COO, all this stuff. You know, they're all dirty in this situation. And he lays out how it's like money laundering, just the legal implications of all this, and pretty much suggests like, oh, somebody, you know, someone needs to go down for this. And so Eric gives him the evidence, which gets turned over to the police. And I thought it was really, I thought the arrests in this episode were so random. Like, they were trying to make them,
so dramatic.
they were trying to make them a little too dramatic. Like, Patrick is arrested while going to visit their mom, like
his comatose mother.
And
Yeah.
he's
And they
just,
could have pulled him out of the room. Like, they
Yeah.
didn't have to do it right
and
there.
he was,
No.
and it happened to be when he fully like confessed that he screwed up to his mom, and he's sitting at the side of her bed and he's crying his eyes out.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
of course they walk in, and it's just a very simple, Patrick, stand up. You are being arrested.
But the thing to remember about these arrests is he's not being arrested for the money laundering. He's being arrested for murder. That's why, I mean, that's why Cornell is there. She's a homicide detective. And that's what's so crazy is like the fraud and stuff isn't even, well, obviously murder trumps fraud, I guess,
Right.
when it comes to jail. But that's not even the concern at this point. Because,
No.
well, whenever just firing him wasn't enough. So that's why when he asked their lawyer, when Eric asked the lawyer, what can I do to make this not happen or to make it not come down on everybody? It was like, you have to do this drastic, crazy thing, because just that person that you know did it getting fired isn't enough. Somebody's got to
Right.
be punished,
Go down
or
for it.
everybody's got to be
Yeah.
punished. And at this point, Eric's thinking, okay, well, he most likely killed my wife, so what does it matter?
Say Kate never got thrown off the balcony and there was never a murder. I don't know if Eric necessarily would have thrown his brother under the bus in this case. He is very business savvy and business sense, but we saw throughout the episode he has flashbacks of he actually feels like Eric feels like he was Patrick's father. He helped him grow up. He was around more than John was. So I mean, I don't know if Kate hadn't died, if he would have tried harder, I guess, maybe to
I don't think
protect him.
I don't think that he would have turned in the evidence whatsoever, because the reason why he did it, sure, it's because of the company and to get these other people out of trouble as well, but that's also just the motive right there.
Right.
The motive to kill Kate. So at this point he's just thinking, this happened, so what does it even matter?
Well,
He
because he
killed
thinks,
my wife.
they were having financial issues, and the ransom got asked for right around that same time that the properties were going under, which that whole thing, to me, it seemed like Eric got so quickly to the conclusion that Patrick murdered Kate, and didn't seem very shaken up about it.
Well, I get him
was
just
so,
being
like-
calm, like, okay, there's all this other stuff going on, let's figure it out. But I also did keep thinking, I mean, clearly he's the one who every bit of evidence is pointing toward Patrick at this point, meaning the motive and the opportunity and whatever else. But at the same time, that doesn't prove that he killed her. It's all circumstantial. Like, there's no DNA. There's none of that kind of stuff.
It was like there was no doubt in his mind throughout this episode until I feel like they had the one-on-one at the jail when he took the initiative to go meet up with Patrick. And it was like there was that moment where Patrick was just, not to jump ahead, but just so fine with how things are, like how he's going to be separated from the family. And it was almost like then that's when I kind of saw Eric kind of like take a second. And I was like, is he pondering? Is he wondering, like, should he not have done this? Maybe he didn't kill her. Like, what is he thinking?
Yeah,
you know?
I agree with that because I was like, Eric, what is? Because when John was talking to him about everything, he's like, hey, this is your brother. Like, what are you doing? Take a step back and think about this for a second. He's like, nope, he killed Kate. Like, so, you know,
wouldn't do that for any person. Like, no detective, no one would do it. So it just doesn't really. I mean, I get it. I get why he would think it. And of course, I would have thought the same thing. I'm sure we were all thinking the same thing. Yeah. But at the same time, especially when it's your family, you look a little deeper into it. Yeah. Or you at least have the conversation with them first.
Right.
But like hey. And when it's somebody that you love so much, it's strange to just jump to the conclusion and not internally inside try to like figure something else out. Like if that was me, I would assume that inside I would be like, okay, all of the evidence points to him, but I know my brother couldn't have done this to me. There is no way. He loved her. He loves me. No, no, no. You know?
I think, too, it's like the first kind of break that they've had in the case. And it's not like things have just been peachy keen with Patrick over the past few weeks. Like, there's definitely been tense moments and not good stuff. So it's kind of like he's been working. This isn't the first time that we've thought Eric has looked at Patrick like he was guilty.
Yeah.
Whenever he found out first thing that he was the one who did the money laundering, that you could tell like the wheels started turning in his head. But it's still just, I would look at Melanie first over looking at Patrick. Even though Patrick signed the document, that's who I would for sure look at.
Yeah, it seemed a little too quick and a little forced from Eric to be so stuck on feeling so confident about Patrick being the murderer the whole time.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we'll get to more Patrick stuff later, but we get a new character in this episode, Alicia, the cop. Right? We haven't seen her yet.
No, we haven't
Alicia
seen her
or
yet.
Alicia?
I don't remember what her name was.
Yeah.
So she is Cornell's partner, and why do I never remember his name?
I don't either.
Cornell's partner. He knows her, and so he introduces them because he wants to get some insight from Vice, because Vice handles prostitution, that kind of drug stuff, that kind of stuff. And so Cornell, they're basically asking her for help and access into the house and, knowledge and that sort of thing. And they're so catty, the two ladies.
Oh my God, I know.
If she just would have been nice, I mean, she's like, I'm investigating a murder. This house is owned by a family member of the person that I'm investigating.
It was funny.
Show me what you got.
Yeah, it was funny because when Cornell and her partner showed up, it was like that Alicia was a little catty to Cornell, and then it was like it kind of loosened up a little bit, and then she was nice, and then Cornell was like forcing herself to try to be nice to this woman, because this woman was like, I will help you, what do you need me to do? And she was like, I need this, and then she kind of like, thanks. Yeah. And I was like, oh my God, be a normal person.
She doesn't have a good reputation. Must be tight. I love that
bun
part.
Looks really tight, huh?
Like, it kind of does.
It looks like painful.
Yeah, I love that part though. But I think she doesn't have a good reputation. Everyone knows that.
No,
so it's not surprising that everyone hates her.
I just thought it was funny when she like tried to half smile, like she tried to force some sort of like emotion.
And it didn't even work.
No, it did not work. So
at all.
I'm sure we'll see some more Cornell next week. I mean, we got 2 hours next week to dive into everything. So we'll see kind of more sides of her.
I think the daughter has to come back next episode. We got to see a little bit more of the daughter family aspect. Maybe. I feel like
we got a lot of it.
I almost feel like it would like take away from the story.
But I almost feel like maybe it wouldn't, because she was involved. Oh no, she wasn't involved with Carly. I'm getting Carly and her daughter mixed up.
What if she is?
There you go.
Now that's a twist.
That could be a twist. That could kind of bring it all together. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Not only is your daughter
Cornell
a recovering addict, she's also
just kidding.
She's also a prostitute.
That's how she recovered.
Melanie had her turn tricks.
Our craziest theory yet.
Yes.
I don't know. We've had some crazy ones, and they've come true, okay?
Yeah.
Let's just say we have done
Right? Oh my
really good
gosh.
this season, guys.
The
Except-
sex ring whorehouse situation. I was like, no, you guys, no.
I don't even know how that
Crazy,
came
right?
up. But
know.
except for like the past 2 episodes, I've been like, it's Patrick, it's Patrick, it's Patrick, and now I definitely don't think that it's him.
I don't think it's him.
No.
I don't think you can tell. Well, now I'm trying to think about the people who haven't profusely said it wasn't me. I would never do that. It wasn't me. Like you can tell he and Neil have been that way, but who has not profusely said it?
Let's do that at the
Papa.
end. Let's do
Yes.
that at the end. Go through like our characters.
we
and,
have
and
to,
why,
because I'm dying.
Why they would be the murderer and why they wouldn't.
Yes.
That will be
Let's.
fun.
Can we also talk about the fact that when are we going to find out why Amanda was like sweaty and acting weird and doing all kinds of stuff?
I
know
swear on
that
my
she
life, I
going
was
through-
gonna
she
mention
was going
fertility
through
stuff.
Are we sure though? I know that they showed us a little IVF here and there, but even like that episode, I feel like we were all like, well, that had to have been it, but they didn't make it 100% clear that that's why she was. You know what I
I
mean?
think that's
It's got to be it.
it.
But on the way here, I swear on my life, I thought the same thing. I was like, did that not mean to happen? Like, was she actually just sweating that bad?
There's no way. They would have been like, makeup lady would have been like, stop
like, hey.
production.
Yeah. I think that's why they did it, to make us. I mean, because what? She pulled out a huge thing of pills. We all automatically think
Wonder why she's
on
acting
drugs.
so erratic and
so
sweating.
It
and
was
all
just
that
their
stuff.
way of making her a suspect. But I did
Yeah.
think that, like, would they ever address it? But I think they did enough
Right.
with the fertility stuff.
Okay.
I think so, because it's messing with your hormones.
Yeah.
Crazy shit happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
that.
Okay, so let's talk a little about Danny and his flashback situation. So
Yeah.
that was a sweet little moment. It's funny because he like is exactly the same, and it's like
I know.
15 years ago.
She's so young, and he looks the exact same as he
Yeah.
did.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's a sweet moment. I mean, he's got that little time with Rachel, and it shows like because the last time that or really the only time we've seen her is when she runs away that night.
Right.
Yeah.
And they have this big old fight and stuff, but we see that when she was a little girl, they were really close, you know?
The
and
bullets.
Yeah, they've
That
got the bullet
story.
with his name on it, sort of thing, as a, keeping him safe. So she's got the bullet, so he's safe out there, sort of thing. That was really tender, and it just, reinforces that relationship and why he's thrown everything away and risking everything for her.
Yeah.
To find her.
That's definitely something that we have to see resolved. 'Cause
Yeah,
it's
I'm
not
like, are
at
we even
all.
gonna find her? Jeez, I
know.
don't feel like we're getting any closer.
Yeah.
I don't either.
No. But I like that he and Eric had like a nice understanding moment tonight, and then in turn, he helped him get this mysterious iPad unlocked.
Finally, the iPad, we figured it out. It's
Yeah.
Eric's name.
Who
Oh
doesn't
my
try
gosh.
that?
I mean,
I don't know if I
I don't
would.
know.
I mean, 4
If
numbers.
if
You
your
do, like,
name was 4, I would
Yeah.
try that.
Well,
birth dates,
yeah.
initials,
anniversary.
Yeah.
Maybe like
Name.
the PIN code to your ATM.
Yeah.
But like, I guess now if that ever happens, I will definitely try my name. I'll be like, I saw this on Secret
And there's
Secret.
wait, yeah, you could
mine
definitely
is
try
none
that.
of those things.
Mine isn't either.
Mine
so
are always
good luck,
mine
people.
are always random.
Right?
Always
mine are
random,
too.
and then I just remember them.
Oh.
Got that good
Uh-oh.
memory.
Don't steal wit stuff.
She's like, mine is.
Yeah, so it's Eric's name, and Eric was I feel like he was so moved by this,
Yeah.
that
He was.
the password was his name. He's like, it was my name.
Yeah, it was very.
She did love me.
I'm like, girls do that all the time, honey.
Yeah.
I'm like,
I guess,
oh.
but I guess I could see where they were trying to go with that. It was a little corny in my opinion, but I could see where they were going because here he is trying, like he's finding all of these crazy things out that he never knew about his wife. He finds
Yeah.
this mysterious device that he didn't even know that she had, and like he didn't know what she was doing on it. If she was having an affair, if she was going behind his
Right.
back. So like I could kind of see what they were trying to do, but
Yeah. Well, because
it
if he
was-
did find it and he puts in his name, like how easy is that for him to unlock? You
yeah.
know, so it's not like she was trying to be too secretive
Yeah,
with
yeah,
it.
yeah,
So
yeah.
it's reassuring in that sense too.
And it's good because he's still finding out ways that prove that she actually did love him, or that she was always thinking about him and whatever. So it was sweet, but he was just a little too into it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it was very cute.
It was cute. And then we had that little flashback of the first I love you.
Yeah, that was
They
sweet.
Oh
said.
yeah, and she said it first.
Yeah. Ballsy. I like her.
Yeah, very ballsy. And she has like such a pretty smile. So like she was adorable. She said it and she smiled all big, and then he came around. They're such a cute couple. I wish that they were real.
Until she's
dead.
Yeah.
I know.
Things got real weird.
Oh man. Okay, let's talk about Oh no, before we get to her, let's talk. I don't know. Do we want to talk about Melanie or John?
Melanie.
And Eric first. Well, yeah, Melanie.
Yeah,
okay, let's
yeah.
go with Melanie. So, little Mel, during yoga class, I mean, she looks so cute. Like,
Yeah,
she's like
at least
so
she got to
cute
show
and
off her
stylish
Except
and
that
like,
bump hair.
yeah, the
I didn't like
hairstyle
that
was a little
hair.
much,
It was like
but
bang split.
she's
bump.
a pimp.
Yeah.
Yeah, true. It
That's
was
what she
very
wants.
pimpish
Yeah,
of
she
her.
does whatever the hell she wants. So, yeah, we got like a lot of body shots of her. I thought
Yeah.
the yoga instructor was ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah. My favorite part though is when she's in downward dog and
they
she's
put-
looking through her legs in downward dog, and it's a total booty shot right
Right?
there, and then all of a sudden you see footsteps and you know she's about to get arrested, and it's like, of course she'd be
So-
in this position.
Yeah.
Yeah, and again with the weird arrest, like that wouldn't happen that way. I guess when you have the power to arrest someone and the time is there to
Yeah.
arrest them, like
Yeah.
I don't know, I'd maybe be like, haha, like
Yeah, I'm gonna get
you know, I'm
where
gonna get
her
you
in
when it's
front of-
awkward.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like these are, runaway criminals, though. They
Right.
could just have
You
been
can say,
like, we need
excuse
to
me,
see
yeah, Mrs.
Yeah.
Warner,
Melanie or
can you please
whatever.
come with me, and then arrest her. Like,
Yeah.
how awkward is that? Lay on your stomach, and then we're gonna have you help you like stand up once your arms are
Yeah.
handcuffed behind your back.
A
while
girl
you're-
was arrested at my work one time, a long time ago.
Oh.
But she
For
they
what?
had
What
they
did she
like
do?
had her. She was stealing, but they had her
From the company?
in- yeah,
Oh my
in a
God.
room. They were like the cops were talking to her in a room, and she had to walk out of the room to get to the elevator, which was in front of everybody. I mean, well, everybody, me and two other people, and it was just so awkward because she sat there at the elevator, like she was handcuffed with her hair in her face. I couldn't even look. My coworkers were like, "Oh my gosh, what?" And I just looked away because it was
So
awkward for
awkward.
me. I'm like, this poor girl. I mean, she
Might
was
have
doing bad stuff,
deserved it.
but I still felt so bad for her. So I can't imagine being like a yoga class. Probably been going there for years. Everybody
I
knows
know,
your
like
name.
getting
Yeah.
arrested at my gym, like mid workout. That
Yeah.
would suck.
That would be
Totally.
awful.
You try and run away.
I know.
Oh gosh.
Let me
yeah.
finish my workout.
Man. So that was again, for dramatic effect.
Yeah.
Down dog, might as well stay in that position.
Right, and I liked when she came in and they were talking to her at the police station, and she was like all stretching, and she's like, oh, I feel a little sore, but other than that, I'm good.
Yeah.
And I was
She
like-
does not care.
She does not care. Well, she did care in the end, but
Yeah. But she
Right.
cared because of Patrick.
Yes.
She didn't,
Yeah.
I assume she already thinks, like, oh, you should just wait until, she has everyone in her little black book that can get her out of this situation, probably.
Right.
But the thing that
Yeah.
turned her is because of seeing Patrick
Yep.
do that.
Yep.
Well, it's kind of like Carly. When Carly got arrested in episode 5 or something, when they brought her into the police station, they couldn't keep her because so many people above Cornell recognized her from either services or they
Yeah.
know people who have done that. And so she got out.
Which is strange that Melanie had,
Yeah,
didn't
being
get
the
more.
madame.
Well, though she did say, and we don't really go anywhere with this, she says, let's make a deal. I know who killed Kate.
Yes.
So I'm sure something is going to happen
But and
there.
remember whenever they were Cornell was talking to Alicia or whatever it was, they were exchanging things. So she said, and because Alicia is trying to protect the girls who were in this prostitution ring.
'Cause they were
And so it's
victims.
kind of like, you give us these names, then maybe these people get a deal or they get off in some ways, and like you go for the big fish, you don't
Right.
go for the little fish.
Right.
Yeah.
And not that they shouldn't be punished. They're obviously breaking the law, but they want the people who are running it and the big time clients who have all this money
Exactly.
or whatever
Yeah.
over than like the girls.
Yeah.
Yeah, they wanna help the girls, get them out of this lifestyle is
Yeah.
what I took from Alicia. She didn't
Right.
want to get them prosecuted. She wanted them out.
And
Yeah.
with this type of situation, I feel like, I've liked Patrick and Melanie's weird little relationship
I did
because they are so
too.
like fiercely protective of
Yeah.
each other and like obsessed with each other. And I would think that when you're running such a big illegal operation like that with your spouse, that you would have some sort of like if we get arrested for this,
Yeah.
here's our story.
Yes,
You know?
but everything changed because when they got the evidence showing Patrick about Melanie and how she's like maybe doing sexual favors with the lawyer to pay him off because they're bankrupt and all their assets are frozen.
I just feel like that was so
I think
easy.
Yeah.
I know,
like,
but I think,
don't you know they're trying to plant stuff in your head? Come
yes,
on.
But the thing is like what you were talking about with their relationship. They are so like together and so connected. I think that
They don't know how
people
to
like
think.
that so passionate. He just like something flipped in his brain as soon as he saw
Well,
that.
Yeah.
when
Well,
we
Well, I mean,
see
of course
when
it
he
would.
throws
Yeah.
down in the
lawyer.
room, like
wow. The
I
lawyer
was, yeah, that was pretty nuts. He
Yeah.
was like, don't
Honestly,
mess with him.
for the longest time, I've been like, oh, Melanie's probably cheating on Patrick. We've had plenty of reasons to believe that so far, but then seeing the flashback of him calling her whenever it all went down with the houses and everything, the way that they interacted, I could just tell, I'm like, you have such a connection. I don't think she has been doing anything. I think she flirts and maybe she's like hooked him up in another way, but I think Cornell did the exact thing that she knew would make Patrick
Or they,
flip.
got a room. Like, she showed that they went to the hotel. They could have been getting a drink there. She could have shown
and
him
I
to
thought
a
that
room.
too.
Exactly.
Given him a key to a private room with 3 girls in it. I don't know.
exactly. I kind of thought that too. But I mean, she
Easy,
used what she could, and she got Patrick to flip the switch on her.
And then
you know?
she did the same thing with the exact same thing with
They
Melanie, or the
flipped
other
so
lady did
easily
it
on
with
them,
Melanie.
each other.
They really did.
That's so smart, though. A little necklace.
Oh my God, that
Thumb
necklace!
drive.
I was like, damn, girl, you got some ideas up in there.
Yeah.
But I also didn't think beforehand, which totally makes sense. But when Cornell showed Patrick her Melanie's old mugshot and was like, how did you think she got into this business? You can't just all of a sudden run a whorehouse out of nowhere. And I was like, oh my God, why didn't I think of that? She was obviously doing this back in the day.
Yeah. But I almost don't even think that he would really care about that. I mean,
No.
of course he would, but I don't think just that alone would have flipped him. I think he would have been like, or even then he was like, I don't want to talk to you, we're done.
Yeah.
But then when you see pictures, I don't know, but I'm like, you show me them making out and then I'll believe it.
Right.
Until then, heck no.
They're just walking
Yeah.
outside of a hotel.
Yeah.
Okay.
And sure, they're like hugging, and maybe his hand was near her butt, but who cares?
I know.
That's
I was
a
like, show
big
me,
picture
yeah.
here. Big
Yeah,
picture. Not let's give them all the information. And he didn't turn he technically didn't turn against her. He just told them all the information that they already knew, though.
Yeah,
They already knew she was in charge.
But it was almost like they needed him on camera saying it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To actually get her to now, tell her side of the story or flip it on him and like tell them what she knows about the murder and everything.
Well, I think they're getting lucky with that. I don't think they expected to get that whatsoever, and that's why it's not Cornell interviewing Melanie. That's why it's Alicia, the vice or whatever she is. I don't think they expected for her to be like, okay, make a deal because I know who killed Kate.
Yeah.
But I think that they knew that she would have known because they show her like getting the footage, erasing the footage.
Oh, see, I don't think they thought it was connected at all.
Really?
Yeah, I think that they thought Patrick was, but I think that they were nailing Melanie. I think they were nailing Melanie just for
To the house.
prostitution stuff.
Okay.
And then she
But I
gave
feel
them
like they
more.
have to. I don't know. I would think that they'd assume it's all connected in some way.
Or like assume until they can prove otherwise.
Well, at this point, they're thinking it's Patrick. They're not thinking anything about
That's true.
about Melanie.
I mean, there's some.
And that is why they arrested her, because he admitted to them that she was the one who started the prostitution ring and that she was the one in charge of it. So that's why she's arrested.
But his name's on all the documents doesn't really.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't alleviate
Just
any
because
guilt
he
from
says
him. It
it.
just pulls her in.
Exactly.
To it too.
He said, if my wife thought of it, okay,
Yeah.
prove it.
Exactly.
I would have never admitted anything. Oh, but he
No.
told him about the job drive.
Yeah.
Never mind. That sucks.
Yeah.
Where was her lawyer?
Beaten
She's
up.
tough. She doesn't think she needs one.
Yeah.
It's probably in the
you
hospital.
don't
Play
say
at the Ritz.
anything.
Yeah.
Don't you guys, haven't they watched enough crime TV? Like, don't say anything ever
Yeah.
Right?
if you get arrested.
Don't even say, oh, I know who killed Kate, so make me a deal. No, you wait till
Yeah.
your person
Yeah.
gets there.
And then you talk to your attorney, and then he makes a deal on your behalf.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You never say
Rookies.
God, I feel
done
like we
this
would
before.
be so much better in this situation.
We're such better criminals.
Let's try it out. Just kidding. Okay, let's talk about John and Eric and Patrick's situation.
Yeah.
So, and then like the juicy stuff we learned there at the end. So again, back to Eric being all like, Patrick's the one who did it, and we, have this kind of face-off with him and John, and where Eric pretty much, says he raised everyone, which is so crazy. I would have thought, like, with all that money, like, they'd have a nanny or something going on. Like,
Yeah,
what-
maybe they didn't have as much back then.
I don't think that I don't know. That was my perception too. When they were doing the flashback this episode, I was thinking like, well, they must have not had as much money, because I was like noticing everything in the background, and it kind of looked like a very simple, like, kind of setup.
They weren't
Right.
living
He's
in like a
building the
crazy amazing
business.
house
Yeah.
or anything.
Yeah. But, man, it's...
Well, but so it was weird to me because obviously John was on board with, or maybe even thought of it, to fire Patrick.
Yes.
Because that had to be done no matter what.
Yeah.
But hearing, it's like how Eric was trying to convince him. He's like, you don't know what, a day ago you wouldn't have said he was capable of fraud and that he would have never done this, but now it's tomorrow. And then when he pulls out, he's like, do you think he's capable of blackmail? Because look at this. And it's the blackmail letter. And I still was waiting for, like, John asked him, he's like, how do you know it was him? And he said, because I got this right at the time that the houses were going under. But I'm like, that's no proof. It's
like
very coincidental.
It's coincidental,
right?
But I mean, like, if you have no other
So
leads or
ridiculous.
nowhere else to go, I mean, I guess your mind could assume that. And
Yeah, I mean, I get where he could
yeah.
assume it, but it's just such like you're saying this so matter-of-factly when you have zero proof whatsoever.
Right.
And it's a very huge thing for your brother to kill your wife, but it's also a huge thing for, like, can you imagine your sibling sitting there cutting out letters and gluing them to a paper?
No.
And, like, he had bigger fish to fry. He didn't just need $50K, he needed to ask for,
Like
like,
a
a
bunch,
million.
yeah.
Right?
Or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
It just didn't add up, and it
see-
seems like Eric just jumped to it so...
Yeah.
He's just trying to jump on anything.
Yeah.
Well, and then that's what I don't understand, like, where even the letter could come from or whatever. But the thing is, John's reaction to the letter and to that whole situation was weird to me, because I thought that for a second, he kind of staggers and he looks at the letter and everything.
Got
and I thought,
lightheaded.
yeah, and I thought right then and there, he either was going to start holy crap, maybe it was Patrick. Then when he got lightheaded and had to sit down, I was like, oh my God, he knows way more. And he's going to say something to his son, and then he doesn't say anything.
Oh, I did not think that. I
Really?
thought that I think the whole cancer thing is a fake, because he knew that his kids are smarter than, he leaves a random cell phone in his thing. I think he wanted them to find that so that his disappearances could be explained. And when he saw the letter, he's like, oh dang, this is still happening, because the letter is now connected to John, because the money that Kate gave because of the letter, we now know John has, or he at least someone's planted it on,
Yes,
which I
that's-
doubt someone planted it on him.
Or he knows who was in possession
Yes.
of it, and he's moving it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's
So,
what I
and
was-
which
yeah.
obviously is, our big kind of surprise of this episode.
Yeah.
They track the money and they get to John, who's
Yeah.
driving away.
Right.
And
with
it,
the
yeah.
money.
And like my first reaction when I saw that scene was like, oh my God, yes, it is a family conspiracy. Yes, we knew it. And then I got to thinking today, and I was like, what if John, like you said, what if like it's just not coincidental, but what if John found out or got tipped off where this money or whatever they're tracking is at, and he's moving it to protect somebody, or somebody tipped him off and now he's going to find it himself, or like he has an idea. Exactly. But I still have a feeling it's a family like a family cover-up thing, okay? But I could also see where they're wanting us to believe that, and then they're going to go in a different direction, like John's protecting Eric, or John's protecting Patrick, or he's going to find it himself, and you know what I mean? Like, there's something up, and I can't wait until next week to find out.
Why would, it still doesn't make any sense of why John would have the money, and who in his family would have blackmailed him for $50,000.
Well,
John didn't
yeah.
need to blackmail him.
John didn't need to
Okay,
black
so
out.
what?
Yeah.
So
Patrick
I think
or
John's
Melanie?
protecting somebody.
I think that could definitely be a possibility, as bad as I want to believe that like he has something to do with this, because I just didn't trust him. But
I
it's-
don't. I
who
think
would he
they're
be
not.
protecting,
I think
though?
they're leaving us with just enough like small nuggets and kind of like crumbs to
Yeah.
chase down with John that it's not going to be him.
Well, you guys.
I think it's going to really shock us who
Yeah.
it is.
Well,
Yeah.
you guys make sense. Like, who in that family would even waste their time trying to blackmail somebody else in their family for a measly $50,000? Because to them, it's a measly $50,000.
Yeah.
Let's be real; they're millionaires. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? So it just, it doesn't really make sense. Like, I think when Patrick was, or when Eric was talking to John about it and showing him the letter in the office, I thought he said that this came around the first, something about the first payment that Patrick would have had to make.
When it started like crumbling.
Okay, so it was
Yeah.
like the first bit of payment. So it wasn't like the 12 million.
Well, yeah,
It was
because
just
initially when the first, he knew that it already wasn't going to work out
Yeah.
how he wanted to, or how he thought it was going to, whenever the first payment was due. So it was crumbling / just starting even then, because he didn't have anyone to pay those mortgages. He was having to pay them himself.
Or maybe it was like, maybe his mind's making it, like, in his mind he's saying like, oh, they had to start the whorehouse somewhere. Maybe the 50,000 helped them because Melanie and Patrick were broke.
Well, what?
Yeah.
They wouldn't have had to pay, they wouldn't have had to pay someone to start it. They already had the house.
Well,
Because he was having to pay
but
the
they
mortgage
would have
on
had
the
to
house.
pay. They would have had to like bring supplies and security and the videotapes, and I don't know how this works, but do they pay the
Furnish
girls a
the
little bit
house.
and the guys pay the girls? I mean, I don't know how it works, but
I don't know.
I would assume
They
you
probably
get
need a little bit of capital.
you
like
might
any
get
business.
you might get
Yeah.
like a daily rate. So what if you don't have a customer that day? You still should
Your
get
per
paid.
diem.
Yeah.
It's like commission.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Maybe I don't know. It's just that the blackmail thing is what doesn't make sense to me.
All right. Yeah. So John, we think so what are our feelings about him being the murderer? I don't think so.
I don't think so
My gut
because
says no.
he has been gone for too much of the show.
Right.
It would almost, sure, it would be random. It would be more shocking than, let's say, a Patrick at this point. But I think that it's not going to be just kind of like a more minor character. It's going to be a character.
Yeah.
But then again, it's like, I can
He's not
see
a
it.
minor character, though. I don't think he's too minor
But
for him to be in
He
it.
was out of like 3 episodes.
I think that is one of the reasons that he hasn't been very present, and we haven't seen him in the spotlight as a potential suspect. Is one of the reasons why he could very well be it.
Yeah.
You know, because it's like, oh well, we haven't seen him that much.
Well, he's
you know.
definitely on the list still because he's one
Yeah.
of the people that hasn't. I don't even know if he's been asked if he's
Right.
killed Kate
Yeah.
or
No.
if
I
he
don't
was the
know.
one. I don't know if anyone's even asked. I'm sure they asked him about his alibi. He had to give over his clothes.
Right.
He's one of the people that are left that it could be.
You know what I just thought of? Didn't Eric say something to John in this episode? Something about how how Cornell wanted to get his records from like his juvenile records and stuff, and that he hadn't given it to her yet because he couldn't find it at home. And then Patrick said something that struck me. He was like, well, Dad, aren't you the only one that had access to that? Like,
Oh, you mean
he said
Eric?
it. Yeah, Eric. He said it in like a suspicious tone to make me think like, oh wait, does somebody else have this and they're involved somehow?
Well, he's like, you have.
It's
the
the mom.
only reason you haven't given my records is
She's
because
not really unconscious.
Yeah. The only reason you haven't given my records is because you haven't found them, right? And that's coming up for a reason.
Yeah.
Like, otherwise, what do these records even really matter?
I don't know. I don't know if I can believe. Oh.
I just
What?
thought of something. Go ahead.
Oh gosh.
Okay, I'll do it fast. I promise.
'Kay.
I don't know if John
what she
killed. I don't know if John killed Kate. I almost feel like maybe he found out what was going on behind the scenes, and Kate was going to expose stuff, and he hired somebody for $50,000 to, I don't know, he came up with some sort of elaborate thing to have her killed or something. But
What I was going to say doesn't make sense anymore. Never mind.
Oh,
Why?
dang it. What
Just
was it going
tell
to be?
us.
Now
I was
you can't.
thinking, what if Eric had like a blackout moment? Like maybe, because why are they bringing up this juvie stuff? They're still showing the mom, which we think maybe, or it's a possibility Eric could have hurt her to keep her from hurting the kids. I was like, what if they did that and they're trying this, all the rest is like a theory or a cover up so that he doesn't get found out, so that he doesn't discover like, oh, I'm actually crazy.
You know what? I'm so glad that you brought that
But
up.
the blackmail doesn't make sense.
No,
with
but
that.
I'm so glad that you brought that up, because for next week, when I was watching the previews, it almost felt like they were setting it up that way, because I feel like somebody was like, oh, you don't remember? And Cornell was like, I can place you on that rooftop. You were on that rooftop that
but
night.
the thing with that promo is they're cutting scenes that aren't meant to be cut. Like you see Cornell talking that way to somebody, and then they show Eric being talked to when you're like, it's not going to be really.
But it's
how
really
the scene
funny that
happens.
you had that thought too, because when I was just watching the previews, that's where my mind went for a moment, and I mean, obviously we don't know. Like you said, they cut, and it's a 2-hour episode, so they had a lot of footage to cut. But it's funny that you said that, because I kind of had a moment where I thought that too.
Yeah, I didn't find that we got a lot from the promo. I mean, it's a ton, like, John's arrested, Patrick's on the roof jumping or being thrown, but it's a lot of like quick cuts of like accusing people and stuff, and it could be anyone,
we have no idea.
really.
The only thing about Eric is that, or with that theory, is the blackmail still doesn't make sense.
I mean, the blackmail doesn't make sense at all with anybody directly in the family unless it was an outside person. Like, it really makes no sense to me. I mean, you could think Kate's son, but like that's pretty much done and over with. They're not going to come back.
So Brooklyn in the chat says that it's the receptionist. So she thinks it's
not
May.
May.
Misha says that she feels like Cornell knows who killed Kate, but she needs all the pieces of the puzzle before she can get an arrest. Well, we know that the blood, like obviously the blood that was in the dirt is going to come back and link to somebody. So that's going to be what does whoever the murderer in.
Also, something to think about, if Melanie is telling the truth and really does know who did it, which I assume that she does, because I feel like they did that for a specific purpose, it has to be someone that she was willing to protect. So I think that even though, which leads to John again, because even though she has never truly been welcomed into the family and whatever, she would be willing, I think, to protect him. If it came down to just this, something as simple as erasing the footage.
I mean, he was never, was John ever mean to her that we saw? Or like, it was more
all
the siblings. Yeah. I mean, unless it's somebody else and that Melanie's trying to protect, like doing it for Patrick.
At the same time, her protecting this person doesn't mean she's protecting them because she loves them. It could be because it's Patrick's family, you know, and because the company, and because she came from, working on her back to now having a ton of money, and she doesn't want the company to go under because of some big scandal because she likes her lifestyle, you know, all this stuff. So what about Amanda?
Okay,
We haven't seen Amanda very much.
Yeah, but she's like, this episode, she was pretty MIA. She was like in one scene. And I mean, I still don't trust Amanda. There's something about Amanda that just, I don't know, Amanda and John, there's something going on. But I don't know.
By the end before we sign off here, we're all going to have to place our bets.
Oh, I can't. I don't know. Like for the first time all season, I'm like, maybe Eric. But I just can't think.
How I feel too.
So, okay, who can we rule out? I think we can rule out Patrick.
We can definitely.
Or do y'all?
I think we can rule out Patrick.
I don't think that Patrick pushed her. I don't think Patrick killed her. Well, we can definitely cross off Danny, because we can all agree he had nothing to do with it.
Right.
Oh, yeah,
right?
Sure. We can cross off Neil.
Neil is a good one. I'm going to cross off May. I'm sorry. I really don't think May had anything to do
I don't
with it.
think.
Well, I don't. What's-her-face would have never protected her. She would have never,
But again,
she would have never not given it up. But what connection does she have to May?
Little old May is, or not May, little May is too innocent to be pushing anybody off a rooftop and killing them.
Yeah.
I don't think it's May, but I don't think anything has made it so that it can't be her.
Well, I think the fact that Melanie knows who killed her.
What about...
That tells me that it's not her. Because why would she ever Why would she not tell the family about that?
What if it was, okay, total left side, but what if it was like Carly or one of the girls,
It's
and she
Rachel.
was, or Rachel, and she was protecting her own ass because she knew that if they found out who had done, like if it was one of the girls, it would have traced back to her in that house, and she was protecting Patrick in the end because of it too, you know, because then he'd go under. I don't know. That's just a random theory.
Yeah.
She was at the party and she has been missing since.
Rachel.
Yeah.
Right. And we don't even know. That's the weird part, is that if Rachel was with Carly at the party, when Carly ran away to the garage and left Neil upstairs and he chased her down, what happened to Rachel? Where did Rachel go?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
She was probably up on the balcony.
See? Could have been up on the balcony.
Yeah.
Could have gotten into it with
Or
Melanie.
Melanie, pulled her aside and did something.
And then Kate got in the way because Kate was like, why are you attacking this young girl?
Yeah.
And then Melanie, mind your own business, bitch.
Are
And
we
then-
completely sure that Rachel was a prostitute?
No.
No. She was just
She
friends
was
with
hung
Carly.
in the crowd.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So we're not totally sure.
We
so-
have reason to lean towards
Assume.
that.
Right.
But
Yeah.
no evidence.
What's that called when you are guilty by association?
Yes.
Yes.
That she
So.
is. Okay. Who's your
so,
Like, we're really doing this right now.
yeah, I
Yeah.
think we should lock them in.
Let's do it.
Guys.
pick? I'm not going first.
Oh my
I
god,
don't
you guys,
think
this
it's
is
Melanie.
so hard. I could come up with like 3. And
I
then
don't think it's Melanie. I don't think it's Patrick.
you don't think it's Melanie?
No.
Either of you?
I think that I'm looking. I almost want to just say it's Eric or Amanda. I almost want to. Okay, those are my top 2, Eric and Amanda.
Nope. You have
No,
to
I
pick
know that.
one.
I know. Okay, we can do top 2 and then circle back. We're
Okay,
almost done. We've
my
got
top
only a few
2
minutes left.
are John and Eric.
Okay. Oh god.
What? All of a sudden we're like, Eric.
I know. Okay, so I'm. You guys aren't crazy for thinking Eric, and I kind of am leaning that way too. I don't know. I'm still thinking Melanie had something to do with it, but it's almost too easy to pinpoint her now. You know what I mean?
All right, so who are your 2? And then you
so
pick one.
hard. I'm definitely gonna go with Eric, and I'm gonna go with John hiring somebody, or Melanie.
Wait.
No, I gotta have 3 for now. Okay, I have to like think about it in my head. So it's either Eric, it's either Melanie going crazy, like I said, where Kate gets in the middle of her and one of the girls, and she accidentally does it, or it is John hiring somebody to protect the family. Boom.
Okay.
Okay.
You know what?
And I think Amanda knows who did it too. I think Amanda and John, if they don't have the blood on their hands, they know.
Guys, this is hard.
Yeah.
Conspiracy.
But wouldn't they already have Eric's DNA?
I don't
I
know.
don't
Probably.
know. I mean, wouldn't they have
Seems
the
like they would've
DNA
asked
done by now anyways? Like, they
Alright.
found it in like the 3rd episode.
Well, they can only get it from people that they arrest.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unless you
So
willingly
I don't know. I
give
guess
it.
maybe we'll just narrow it to
right.
our top 2.
Okay.
I don't know. Unless, who do you think?
I don't know. Now I'm like, well, I'm not for sure, but I'm like Eric.
I
It
feel
literally in
kind
the
of
last
feel
10
like
minutes.
it too. And
I
I
feel
do
kind of like Eric too.
Me too. And I still think that it's a family conspiracy that everybody is trying to protect Eric by
He's like a
covering his
functioning
tracks.
psychopath.
You know what? And either what you just said is completely correct,
Dissociative
and
personality.
Yeah.
maybe he is like mental inside. Oh God, my nails are lifting. They're getting my hair. Maybe he is like crazy inside, and he created the ransom note, or his family's trying to protect them, so they created the ransom note to make him think that somebody was trying to blackmail him.
Oh my
But
gosh.
that came before she died.
Yeah, well, you know, puzzle pieces.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know,
So
you're
yeah. So I'm feeling like Eric with Amanda as the close second.
Yeah. I got
Or-
Eric with John as close second.
Or
Okay.
maybe do you think somebody set up the ransom note because they
We
were
have 1
setting
minute.
him up? I don't know. It's so
That's
hard.
possible.
I know.
Somebody wanted to kill her
Yeah.
for some whatever reason.
It's
John knew that she found out. John knew that she was a good person
Yeah.
and was gonna do something. So therefore, he set it up to
Yeah.
make it seem like someone. Whoa! Okay,
Yeah.
now I think it's John. That someone
Yeah.
was coming after them.
See?
And there you go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I feel like the ransom could be a total fake. Yeah,
I
for
could.
sure.
Yeah.
And
Okay,
that is the
oof.
only thing that has like made sense of it in the entire time to me. That they did
Yeah.
it because they were trying to set it up. So maybe her murder was premeditated.
I know. I'm gonna be really sad if I can't be here next weekend.
Anyway,
All right,
all
we'll make
right,
it work.
we have 20 seconds.
Yeah.
Whoa, you guys, this is intense,
Mind
and May half joking. Rachel on the rooftop. Rachel on the rooftop. Sort of. Okay. Anyway, you guys, whew, we have a lot of ideas about this, and it's gonna. I know we're gonna like be thrown in a million directions
Yes.
next
Oh, yeah.
week when we come in to watch it. So. Thank you guys for tuning in and watching us live, and please comment on the YouTube video with who you guys think the killer is and why, and
done it.
why we might be wrong or right, whatever. We will see you guys next week for the 2-hour finale. We cannot wait. And in the meantime, connect with us online. You guys can find me everywhere at Lauren Salaun. That's Lauren Salaun. I'm very active on Instagram, so find me there.
What about you?
You can find me on Instagram at GetItWit or Twitter at WitGetItWit.
And y'all can find me everywhere at April Whisenhant.
Awesome. Thank you guys. See you next week.
Bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.